Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom, where money has history and knowledge becomes power.
Imagine this. You work tirelessly every day, chasing promotions, climbing the career ladder, juggling bills, and trying to save a little for the future. You tell yourself, if I just work harder, I'll escape the grind. I'll reach the top. But what if I told you? The system is designed so that most people can never reach the top. That no matter how hard you try, the rules are stacked against you. That the very way wealth is structured in our society is like a pyramid, concentrating power and money at the top while leaving millions trapped below. This isn't an exaggeration. It's a system that's been engineered over centuries. And today, we're going to uncover how it works, why it persists, and why so many people remain stuck, working harder but going nowhere. To understand why most people can't escape, we need to start with the concept of the wealth pyramid. Picture a triangle. At the very top, a tiny elite control the vast majority of resources. Below them, the next tier holds far less. And as you move down, each layer grows larger, but with less power, less opportunity, and less wealth. This pyramid isn't just a metaphor. It's a system, and one that has roots stretching back hundreds of years. In ancient civilizations, wealth wasn't measured by income. It was land, resources, and control. The patterns we see today, high barriers to entry, inherited advantage, systemic leverage, are just modern versions of the same structure. And here's the tricky part. It's often disguised as meritocracy. We're told that anyone can climb the ladder if they work hard, invest wisely, or get educated. But the pyramid is designed so that only a few at the very top ever reach real financial freedom. Let's rewind. In the late Middle Ages, land was wealth. A small percentage of nobles owned most of it, while peasants worked the land and lived at the mercy of taxes, rent, and harvests. Money was scarce, and opportunity was even scarcer. Then came trade and the rise of banking in the 16th and 17th centuries. Banking families, merchants, and early investors discovered a way to consolidate wealth, not through labor, but through leverage, loans, and interest. Those at the top could borrow to create more wealth, while those at the bottom stayed trapped, working their whole lives without the means to climb higher. Families like the Medicis in Italy and the Rothschilds in Europe perfected this approach, building networks of influence, investment, and debt that grew exponentially over time. The lesson is simple. Wealth begets more wealth, and the tools to create it have rarely been accessible to everyone else. As societies industrialized, the pyramid became even more structured. The Industrial Revolution created enormous wealth, but it was concentrated among factory owners and financiers. Workers earned wages, often barely enough to survive, while owners reinvested profits to expand businesses and accumulate more assets. The 20th century reinforced this structure. Stock markets, real estate investment, tax laws, and credit systems created mechanisms for the rich to multiply their wealth, while the majority relied solely on labor for income. Even programs designed to level the playing field, public education, Social Security, often function more as safety nets than ladders. They prevent disaster, but rarely allow people to climb to the top. Despite the illusion of opportunity, the pyramid has its limits. Look at the 2008 financial crisis. Millions lost homes, savings, and security, while the financial elite orchestrated bailouts and leveraged the recovery to grow even richer. The system protected the top and punished the bottom. Or take rising housing costs and student debt today. Millennials and Gen Z face massive barriers. To buy property, they must save huge sums while paying off student loans. Meanwhile, older generations had access to affordable housing and low-cost credit, allowing them to build wealth that can now be passed down. Crises like these reveal the pyramid's true nature. They disproportionately affect those at the bottom, while the top thrives. The consequences are deep and generational. Wealth inequality continues to rise. Social mobility slows. Millions are trapped in cycles of debt, underemployment, and limited opportunity. Consider these numbers. The top 1% of Americans control nearly 40% of the nation's wealth. The bottom 50% hold less than 2% of total wealth. Intergenerational mobility has stalled in many developed countries. Children born into low-wealth families often remain in the same financial stratum as their parents. The pyramid isn't just an economic concept. It shapes politics, education, and culture, creating a self-reinforcing system that keeps most people at the base. Governments and economists have tried to level the playing field, but solutions often fail or create new problems. Progressive taxes, minimum wage laws, and welfare programs help, but they rarely dismantle the structure. Reforms like wealth taxes or universal basic income often face resistance from the top layers, who have the means to protect their advantage. Meanwhile, the tools needed to escape, entrepreneurship, investing, education, are themselves costly and competitive. The result? The pyramid remains intact. It adapts to changes but continues concentrating wealth at the top, leaving most people chasing a goal they may never reach. Today, the wealth pyramid is more sophisticated than ever. Corporate structures, stock buybacks, tax loopholes, and global capital flows allow the wealthy to expand influence across countries. Meanwhile, average workers rely on wages, credit, and mortgages just to maintain their standard of living. Consider these realities. Real wage growth for middle-class workers has stagnated for decades, while stock markets and asset prices soar. Housing affordability has dropped sharply, especially in cities. Student debt has ballooned into trillions, forcing young adults to delay wealth-building milestones. Patterns repeat. Those controlling capital continue to accumulate it, while labor remains commoditized. The pyramid isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as designed. So, what can we learn from all this? 3 key takeaways. The system is engineered, not accidental. Wealth concentration is intentional, built over centuries, and reinforced through law, culture, and finance. Awareness is the first step. Escaping the pyramid requires strategy, not just effort. Working harder alone won't cut it. Understanding leverage, investing, and financial systems is crucial to upward mobility. History repeats, but knowledge changes the outcome. Generational patterns of wealth can be broken, but only if we understand the system and act strategically.